Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Winterpeg Report. I am your host, Mark Adam, and I am here in the WPG studios, aka my basement, and I would like you to follow us on all the social medias. You can do so on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're also on Twitch and TikTok. Not a lot of content there yet, but follow us because it will be coming. Do get on there. If you want to leave a voice message that we can play on the show at a future date, or send us a text, you can do so through the WPG talk line. The number there is 431-800-4555. And I know a lot of Winnipeggers look down on the old 431 area code, but it is what it is. They're running out of 204 numbers, apparently, because, you know, that's just how she goes. So 431-800-4555. You can also reach us by email, podcasts@thewpg.ca. So if you want to be a guest on the show, or you know somebody we should have on the show, or you want to say something about that terrible guest we had this other I don't know, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you can send us messages there. Looking to advertise, hit us up. 431-489-2401 is the number to call, and that'll cover advertisements on the Winterpeg Report, all other content that we create here at the WPG, or our beautiful WPG.ca, the WPG.ca ad banners and such. So get at us there. You can also email ads@thewpg.ca. Without further ado, I would like to bring in our guest this week, who has a smooth, sultry radio voice. Please welcome Brad Lang from LA Studio Productions.
Well, thank you very much. Good to be here today.
And we are glad to have you. So you and I have sort of been on and off working together and helping each other out, and it's, you know, that's the wonderful thing about the small area that is Winnipeg, is that there's so many helpful people trying to help other people, musicians helping musicians, and you know, I'm a video guy and you're an audio guy that does video as well, and you know what I mean, like I've loved working with you over the last 2 years now almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I've had a lot of fun too. You know, your knowledge is supreme, dude. You've got a lot of knowledge that you bring with you, and a lot of technical advice that other people just don't have. And that really has opened up the door to collaborating with you as one area, but also just to you know, to be part of what you've got going on with your whole business and the way Winnipeg Magazine, WPG Magazine is going, and the website and everything. It's snowballing effect has been great. You know, when we connected, you were very kind enough to include me in some of your advertising. And when you did that, that generated, you know, good results for me in my business. And I've seen a real consistency of flow of artists who are from Winnipeg here, who are starting to reach out and starting to you know, create here at the studio. So
that's awesome.
It's been a real win-win for both of us in that regard. And I know I owe you a big gift certificate for you and the wife for what you helped me with last week. So I do appreciate that, pal.
Oh, speaking of, and because she isn't officially my wife, I did ask her yesterday.
Oh, well, congratulations.
And she said yes, so that's
okay,
that's where the congratulations comes in.
I bet
anyone can ask.
I should have paused, but I went for it straight out, man. I know somebody wants to marry you, dude. It's okay.
Hey, well, and why would I bring it up if she said no? Hey, so speaking of that wife thing, she bounced. Yeah, never mind. No, she said yes. It's crazy. I don't even understand it either. But
sure.
But here we are, and I'll take it. Let's get into LA Studio Productions itself and what it is that you guys do. First of all, who is LA Studio Productions? It's kind of a one-man crew, yeah?
It is. We have other individuals. The LA is Lang and Associates. Obviously, being a one-man operation, it can't all be done by one guy. So we do actually start to reach out to other individuals who are handy at their crafts. Whether it's another artist who is a voiceover artist that we get to add into some of our audio and video productions here, whether it's somebody like yourself who has the technical side of things and brings a world of knowledge in for delicate projects that need that little bit of extra planning and preparation. Um, and then obviously there's graphic guys, there's people that we have to incorporate for website stuff. A good buddy of mine, Glenn, who works for WordPress, an excellent resource there for the web stuff. So
I would say.
it takes a team, and a team starts with somebody that kind of directs that team, and that's kind of where I've been facilitating. This is all in-house. I want you to understand that. So the advertising that we make here with regards to radio and television commercials is all made in-house, with the exception of some of that production will actually be sent off, like a video production that we shoot. It'll be sent off to another guy, and he'll do some custom work on it for us that the client wants, and then we get that back and we continue on with our editing here. What that does is it just gives us a little more time and leeway to keep up with all the projects that are coming in. Plus, it gives us a chance to catch a break when we need one, when we run into, whether it's technical difficulties or just scripting changes and that sort of stuff. It gives us a little bit of downtime having somebody else doing that other work. Now, in the last year or so, I've incorporated my son into the business a little bit, and he's been really helpful. I know you've had a couple of communications with him there last week, and that adds another dimension now that he's 18 years old and able to join me here in the studio. He does some really good graphic work. His Adobe skills are fantastic. So, I'm seeing that we're able to compete and combat with a whole bunch of different positives and negatives along the way. And ultimately, you're a problem solver at the end of the day who brings something together that looks really good, sounds really good, and people are able to generate a revenue off of it. And that's one of the biggest parts about advertising, is getting that revenue in and seeing the results from that advertising.
Yeah, I feel you there. And okay, so you've been doing some video work and things. What do you think of the Winterpeg Report's new intro? Because I really built it last week, and this is the first week that I'm using like the newest version of it with those night shots I got with the drone and all that. What do you think of that, Jobby?
Oh, it's beautiful, man. Your drone shots are simply stellar. My son's actually taking the Nav Canada drone course right now through Aerial Observation Services out in Alberta, and he's going to be in the same boat as you, able to do those great big power shots that, when you're out around the the Human Rights Museum, right, in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
You were flying that, and it was just wow. I mean, dude, you're up so high, and you've got really great angles and a beautiful crystal clear picture and beautiful skies and no wind. And I mean, if this was Alberta, your drone wouldn't even last. It's so windy out there.
Well, what's really funny is that it was very windy the day I took those shots. But the drone I have can compensate. It kills the battery life on it.
Right.
So it takes it from like 35 minutes of flying time down to like 20 minutes of flying time per battery charge.
Yeah.
So which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a long time to be standing out in the winter anyway, to be honest. It was very cold that night. And it was very cool because that, like, the way they light up stuff, there was a lot of work I didn't have to do because the drone I have does a lot of the work, because you said crystal clear picture. I didn't do that. That's the drone. I just pointed it, but
your lighting changes on the building were fantastic, by the way. I just want you to know.
I did that myself. Yeah. No, the Human Rights Museum has all those really cool lighting effects, and there's the lighting at the Forks is just gorgeous at nighttime in the winter. And like, it just, I just took advantage of all that stuff that was there, So
it looks fantastic, man. It looks totally like, that $1 million Super Bowl ad that we saw on the weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, I'll take it for the amount of money I spend, which was not $1 million. I'll take that. Absolutely.
So there's a great example of somebody that I reach out to, like you, for example, who has that drone technical ability, who can go out there and get those really tough shots that I can't grab. I'm a 3-camera shoot guy. I like to do a lot of pre-production. We want to make sure that things are really dialed up and really rocking and good to go, and then The extra stuff that needs to go into that, obviously, that's where somebody like you comes in and provides those extra images that are so worthy of every single second that we give them on a television broadcast or on a commercial broadcast. I mean, without those great shots, let's face it, there's really not a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and I just took advantage of the tools I have, and then I took my kid down to the Forks, who loves to go to the Forks, and you shoot a drone shot, and they get to hang out at the Forks. We have a dog, and like the whole works.
Yep. Make a day of it, right? Or a morning, an
right,
afternoon, whatever.
exactly. And I mean, we did the evening on purpose so that I would get that the lit up buildings and stuff, because I had the day shots from the spring last year, and I should really update some and get some more, because unfortunately in the spring, Winnipeg has this tendency to be very gray brown, like because
It's
the
still
grass
dirty.
hasn't quite come back yet.
The
And
trees,
yeah,
everything's just gray. Yeah.
yeah, but I got to get some like middle of July shots where everything's like super lush and green, and I got to get out there and do those
Go
too.
fly the park trails and
Yeah,
get into the Assiniboine Park trails there along the edge of the river and fly that drone through there and ride your bike behind it, kind of a thing, and or I guess have a
yeah.
sidecar for you to sit in while I pedal.
Or yeah, just get somebody to drive the car, and I'll just sit in the passenger seat.
That
Da da
too,
da da
yeah.
da.
Yeah, absolutely.
The range on that is insane. I literally stood in one place and I shot all of the Forks, all down the river, right into downtown. So that big shot of the downtown,
Yeah,
all of that is from standing in one spot, and it turned out awesome.
that's great.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to you, and we have a guest. So let's stop talking about our internal stuff. And so, how long, and what has been the evolution of LA Studio Productions? How long has it been around?
Sure. We started back in 1997, actually, in Alberta. I've been in the radio and television broadcasting industry for over 35 years. Spent time here in Winnipeg at QX 104 when it was still a Selkirk station back in the day. And then, transitioned from QX 104 up to northern Manitoba. I went up to Thompson and the Paw and Flin Flon and spent some time up there, and then off to Saskatchewan I went, and then made my way into Alberta, where I met my wife and kids, and had my kids rather. So what ended up happening was, the radio business was going well. I had a couple of clients who wanted something specific. Computers were brand new back in '97 in terms of having audio cards and microphones and all that technology being hooked up to them. So I got into it quite early. Brought in a burner and a new tower, and added a couple of new microphones and a pair of speakers, and it started out with just like a computer workstation in everybody's house. You got a laptop, you got a couple of speakers, you start to produce a few things, have a little fun. It starts out as a hobby, then it turns into, well, can you do something for my business? And that's where it kind of expanded, and it led to way more equipment, way more professional gear. Nothing's under $1,000. Everything costs a lot of money. You've got to have multiples of everything. My wife loves my wife hates my cable room, but I love it.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I've been in your studio, and it is the real deal. Like, there is no studio that a musician is going to walk into in this city that is better equipped than you.
Thank you.
Some might have the same level of preparedness, but I feel that your setup is, I mean, it's state of the art, top of the line, and you're willing to add those extra bits. So what, like, from bottom to top, you kind of touched on most of what you offer, but what other services, what are all of the services that LA Studio Productions provides?
So we do radio and television. We do documentaries, narrations. We'll do voiceover work as well. We do full music recording, full bands, duos, trios. We have a full rig as well that we can take out and do live production with, where we come to your location and we actually set up. We've done high school bands before, high school concert bands, high school jazz bands. We've made full-length albums with those individuals within their own music departments at the schools, where we come in, set up our gear, walk in with anywhere from 12 to 18 microphones, depending on how big the group is, and we mic them all up, and we make the production happen, and we bring it back here to the studio. We do a little bit of post editing and production skills in terms of mix down and mastering, and we actually produce an album for them that the high school can go back out there and start to utilize as a fundraiser. Sell them for $10 a piece. Each CD has 6 or 7 songs on it, 8 songs, and we see the kids starting to make some money for their own trips and stuff like that, which again saves money on these kids and their parents from having to pay big bucks to go to Disney World to play for a day at Disney World, just to do something fun and exciting for the kids. It could be that they're traveling to Toronto or Vancouver, but that's just another one of the wonderful things that we do here in the studio that tries to give people always. We know that they're spending money. We know that our clients are spending money with us, and we always want to make sure that they have the opportunity to get that return back somehow. So that's always my first line of thinking, is whether I'm making a radio ad, a TV ad, or we're recording somebody's album, is it worthy? Will it generate a return for this individual? And will it cover the costs of everything that's involved? And, you don't have to go out and find, spend 3 or 4 days or a week or even a month on trying to write that proposal for funding from a government agency or somebody else in hopes that you get it when, another 200 or 5,000 artists all try to apply for the same money. And, it's a tough go there. I try to make sure that I build that into what we do here at the studio. And like I said, whether you're an artist who's performing musically, or you're an individual who is looking to, or a business who is looking to get, I guess, really a commercial done, it's always about that return on the back end for us. And that's something that I take pride in, because I can make a production and send it off to you and you can play it back, but if it doesn't do you justice, then I've done you no justice, and I feel like I've taken advantage of my client. And I don't ever want to I don't ever want to feel that way, and I don't want to put my client in that position either. So hope that helps.
Yeah. You guys, you do a lot of things, obviously. And your main goal, because when you first messaged me back in, I think it might have been March or April of 2020,
right
before our official launch as the WPG magazine, because you were kind of like feeling out, what is this? Who is this guy? But when you first reached out, like, even then, your attitude was very like, how can I help make this a cool thing for Winnipeg? How can I?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, what can I do? How can I make money from you? It was, how can we make a really cool thing?
That's correct. And that's exactly the way I like to think, is I'm not going to stretch my hand out and go, please pay me. Please give me money to help you. It's more like, hey, together we're pretty strong. We're pretty solid that way, in terms of you bringing one set of skills to the table and me bringing another as an example. And together we're, in a sense, unstoppable that way. Bring something that others just, are looking for internally within their own business, who maybe can't find it, or they're looking for somebody outside the business who's too far away that can't grasp it. But here locally, it's like, let's just connect. It's not what you know. It's not what you know. It's who you know. And you've heard that a lot.
Yeah. And again, like, the resources you have, for example, like I have this is I live digitally. This is where I live.
Yeah.
I have 5 screens sitting in front of me right now, and my phone over here. And do you know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, that's what I have.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I got. And I'm very good at using this. But when what I need requires more, I either have to fake it, which sometimes you can get away with, or I have to turn to someone like you, who's got not only the gear, but the knowledge to work it right. And it's so obvious when you listen to a track, when somebody who knows what they're doing was involved versus somebody who just tried to do it on their own but didn't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
They
Amateur
they
productions are really easy to spot, right? You
yeah,
get what you
yeah.
pay for in a sense. And I guess, as a business owner, you should always be trying to um, say the best things about yourself and trying to talk yourself up and trying to push yourself and look at me, look at me. And oh man, that's the last thing I am, is look at me. I'm not about look at me. I'm about let's look at you. Let's make you the focus. Let's make you the highlight of what's going on here, because that's ultimately what you're paying me for. If you want me to be the star, I'm not interested in being the star. I'm more interested in making you the star.
That said, that silky radio voice, that'll take you places. Give us a sample of because you've done it before. What's like a morning radio host sort of
So
voice? Give us that.
Just after 8 o'clock with Wilder in the morning. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I know that there's lots to get to traffic-wise, weather-wise, news-wise. The country seems to be in turmoil. We've got COVID raging rampant everywhere, and there is all kinds of stuff going on. So let's get back to more rock and roll, because that's the one thing that lives rock and roll as consistent as can. We don't get a lot of change from that. The hard driving rock and roll of any band you want to pick. One of my favorites, this one, it's Mötley Crüe, 92 City FM.
See,
Yeah.
just slick. Love it. It's so smooth. I have one of those voices that I don't think people hate, but I wouldn't say that I have a radio voice, if that makes sense.
It took a lot of years to get here. I've got to be honest. I started out right where you are back in 1986. I started right here in Winnipeg. I had a girlfriend at the time who wanted me to, she wanted to get me a birthday present. And, what are you going to get me? What are you going to get me? And she didn't know what to get me. And I didn't know what to tell her to get me either. So you know what she did? She actually went out to Saints Roller Rink over here in Fort Garry. And she ended up getting a night for me to DJ at the roller rink. And that was the start of it. From there, I got in with a guy named Alan Cross, who's a real legend in the music world here in Canada. He hosts a show all across the country. What he did was he was able to take me into a station at the time called QX94. He helped me make my very first radio demo, which turned into me going off to college in the States. Took radio and television broadcasting down there for a couple of years, and came back, played on the hockey team down there, and did all the golf stuff. Had a great time in Minnesota. And then came back here to Winnipeg. And, ever since, I started out doing Lady Pepperell fashion sheets are on sale for $19.99. Come on down to your local Kresge's today. Right. And that's, we all start out there, man. But by the time we're done, some of us will sound like Howard Manshine, and then others will sound like me, or, the others that have been on the radio throughout the past, since 92 City FM, 1978. They said today on their imaging, and I was like, 1978. That was when it first came on air. We were listening to CKY prior to that, and then all of a sudden, here comes this big rock station, and Howard Manshine. He was like, we were all in awe. We were all in awe, and guys like Shadow Davis. All those guys, they're all legendary in the music, in the radio world. And I've looked up to them all the way along, and I've learned a lot from those kind of guys along the way. Brother Jake, the list goes on, man. There are just so many personalities that have been part of my radio past that I'm humbled to have a career this long like they've had. So very much so.
That's awesome. That there's a lot going on there, and you mentioned a bunch of like famous Winnipeggers. Who's been your most famous client? Are you allowed to divulge this information?
Yeah, I've had I've had a few big clients. Let me say that one of my clients who was really big was actually the engineer and assistant producer for Little Mountain Studios out in BC, in Vancouver. And back in the day, it was obviously with Bob Rock, who ran the show there. Bob is now living out of the States and doing his thing down there for the most part. But a guy named Brian J. Dobbs showed up in Alberta where I had my previous studios. And he contacted me. He was back in Canada after being in Las Vegas, or Los Angeles rather, for about 5 years. Dual citizenship for him, so he could come and go as he pleased. But he came back to Alberta because he needed to get some knee surgeries done. And when he got back here, he was looking for a studio to spend some time in, and he came to see me. When we hooked up, I kind of went, I don't really know who this guy is. He seems to be, telling me a lot of stuff on the phone. And, I typed him in and did a little credential check on him just to see if he carries the same cred that he, told me on the phone. And wow, I mean, my eyes almost blew out of my head, dude. He's worked on all of the Mötley Crüe albums. He worked with Metallica on all 3 albums. He's done so much stuff that I can't even begin to imagine. So, I thought that meeting a rock star was cool. Like, whether it's anybody I've met, Taylor Swift. No, she's not a rock star, but I've met Taylor Swift. I've met
famous enough.
Yeah, met Brad Paisley. Met Tommy Lee and all the boys of Mötley Crüe. I met Metallica, but they don't really compare in terms of what I look up to. And in that regard, I look up to this guy and go, wow, man, I can't believe I'm sitting in the same room with you. And he hung out with me for a whole year at the studio, making a couple other albums in my studio.
Jeez.
And, he's in the same boat as us, that, we're just trying to get by and trying to make a living at what we love to do, and create some really cool projects and work that stands the test of time for everybody involved. There's nothing worse than loving a song today and hating it by tonight. So, we take it pretty seriously that way, and we want to make sure that there's longevity there. And somebody like Brian had a lot of knowledge and a lot to offer. So, I sat over his shoulder for many a session and kind of just paid attention and listened to what he was doing and how he was doing it, whether it was with a drum track or whether it was with a bass track, or it could have been with electric guitars, the leads and the rhythm guitars. But that whole putting that production together was great to see from a totally different perspective from what I've learned in school and what I've applied in my own past projects. He opened up some new production techniques. He taught me a few tricks of the trade, which were great. And what I ended up seeing was a better result out of my product too, all because, he came in and spent some time. So it was great. I'd say him. Brian Dobbs is his name.
That's a big deal. It's like you get a contact high from all of the like production work he's done with those other bands, and
pretty much, yeah.
The scale of what he's done,
Exactly right. I mean, he's toured with the band too. One of the things that I should maybe let you know is obviously I've been in the radio business for a long time, radio and television and newspaper, but I've also been a concert guy as well. So when I say concert guy, I've been a rigger, so head rigger on concerts that would come into the arenas and work with the crew that does all the setup and tear down and makes it all happen. So I spent about 13 years doing that when I was in Alberta too, and we were traveling all around the province, from Medicine Hat to Lethbridge up to Red Deer over to Fort Mac. We'd come back down to Calgary and do some shows in Calgary as well. We would also head out to BC and do some stuff in Cranbrook as well. So, we were bouncing around. So when a tour comes out, like Def Leppard, for example, we'd spend anywhere from 3 to 4 shows with that band and doing all of their full rigging and setup of all the sound and lighting that gets hung from the arena roof. And we'd have our chance to spend, the full day working in these productions that, come in with massive equipment. I mean, I think the biggest show I've ever done was Kiss. That had 23 trucks, 23 semis, fully loaded, front to back, top to bottom. Everything had to come off. Everything had to be set up, and everything had to work perfectly. And then it all had to be taken down and put back on the trailer. Now, we start roughly 6 a.m. and we'll go right until probably 5 a.m. the next day. And that's kind of how long it takes to do that one show for that one day. Now, pay was pretty good, so I was pretty happy about that. But those shows aren't coming every single day, much like they don't come every day in Winnipeg here.
Right.
And what ends up happening is you work one today, you got 2 weeks off before the next one, or you got a week off before the next one. So from Cirque du Soleil to Mötley Crüe to Van Halen, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Sammy Hagar, Def Leppard, you name it, man. I mean, I've worked on so many big productions like that I can't count them all, and my list is really large. But I don't necessarily take pride in having done all that work. I take pride in the fact that every single one of those shows was done and nobody died. As you've seen in the past, festival shows have had their problems and issues outdoors with wind and storms and people dying, stages coming down, artists being killed, fires in clubs that have killed people. I'm proud to say that I have a really good track record safety-wise, and that's probably the one thing that, again, trying to be humble, that that's the most important part of the whole day, is that making sure that the stars don't get killed,
or the fans or anybody. Like,
that's right.
That's important. That's a big deal. And you don't really think about that when you think about Mötley Crüe coming to town and there's fireworks shooting off all over the place, and you don't think about those kinds of things and the amount of potential danger that lives there.
The preparedness is really big, man. It's huge. Like we take it very seriously. There's full fire officials on sites for bands like Metallica and Mötley Crüe, because that they're going to run laser beams, they're going to run lots of pyro and lots of different kinds of gas. As an example, Metallica, when they did the Calgary show, that was the oh geez, I'd have to go look. It's sitting right up out there. I've got the laminate all signed by the band and stuff. And the Death Magnetic tour, they came through, and what they did was they had a laser light show with them that was, it fired off green and blue and red and yellow. Well, guess what they did? They actually incorporated the flames to look the same colors. Now, there's only one way to do that, and that's with different gases. So you're sitting there beside the stage or under the stage, and here's all these little tubes that are running to the top of the stage, and that's where the fire's coming out. But the fire's like blowing orange this time, and then it's blowing red, and then it's blowing blue, and then it's green, and it goes with a light show, right? So each one of those gases in a different cylinder creates the different color. And you're sitting on a ticking time bomb if something goes wrong, dude.
That's insane. Like, I can't imagine being that close to what could technically be certain death. Well, if those are mishandled.
You're right. But again, these individuals are very well trained, and it's not just one guy setting and doing it all up. There are multiple people. The rules and regulations around the pyro are very, very extreme. Like, static electricity can do things that we just, that can be the worst fatal move you could have of a day, So,
yeah.
But nonetheless, lots of fun in the concert world. I've had the chance to do all that stuff too. But getting back to the business, I mean, that's what we're here today to talk about, I guess. And I want to, just throw it out there that if you're an artist and you're, you're looking to, develop your talent. It's not just about developing your songs. It's about developing all kinds of things. We work on image, we work on songs, we work on style of songs, we work on, hair, wardrobe, makeup sort of stuff as well. You've got to have the whole package together to make it in this world of recording these days. If you want to try to take it to another level, we've had, I can't even count the amount of cool bands that have come out of Winnipeg and been so successful here and created worldwide music. It's really a phenomenal place. And that's one of the reasons that I brought my studios back to Winnipeg from Alberta, was that I know that there's some real creative people here, and a lot of diversity that way too. We don't work on just rock and roll. We do country productions. We've done world productions as well. So, one of the projects that I'm proud to have been part of was with an individual who came into the studio. He showed up and he was like, dude, I am going for Bollywood. And I said, going for Bollywood. I said, okay,
Cool.
not Hollywood. That's with a B. And I said, okay, I get it. I know exactly what Bollywood is. I said, so you want to do a music video for Bollywood? And he says, yes. And I said, okay, what do you want to do? And he says, well, I've got a producer in Dubai who wants to do the full production of it. What we're going to do is we're going to record the song in your studio here, in that vocal booth behind me here. And at that point, what we're going to do is we're going to fly out to Vancouver. We're going to record the whole production in Vancouver. And then we're going to fly back. The producer's going to fly back to Dubai, and he's going to take all of his footage that he's got, and he's going to make me a cool music video. So we recorded the vocals here, got the full production done on the song, sent the song off. He flew up from Dubai, did the production of the video in Vancouver. When all is said and done, $30,000 US, right? So
Jeez.
you're talking big budget stuff.
That's a big thing.
And this is just one guy who showed up. I got a song I want to record, and I'm like, okay, come on over, let's record your song. And then I find out, well, I'm putting $35,000 into this whole project, and I need a good quality recording, and then I need to get my video together, and I need to do all this stuff. And he's got lots of beautiful women in his video. It's multiple location in the video. They did some amazing post-production work with the buildings downtown in Vancouver, where they put his image on the side of these downtown buildings and stuff. It really blew my mind
cool.
when I saw the end production. I was just like, holy cow, man, that's a $25,000, $30,000 production.
That's awesome.
So it's not just about what you do locally. Some people are looking for that talent development. Others just want to kind of find somebody that they can trust and work with, somebody who can develop, the what they bring to the table already. Some people need a little refinement here and there. It might be they don't hear the extra guitar part that should be in there for the solos. It might be that they don't know that there should be some piano notes carrying the tune from beginning to end and not stopping, and little things like that. So that all kind of really matters. And when you put it all together, it takes a team of individuals to do that kind of stuff, and a lot of hard work.
That's awesome. And so you're going to have to get us that link. I'll put it, if we can find the link to that video, if that's online somewhere.
Absolutely. I can do that right now with you, I believe.
But I can put it below on when people go to the WPG.ca. There's usually like we put a little bonus content section at the bottom of each thing. So,
Sure.
like, because the audio podcast as well, right?
Right.
So people that are listening, they can go to the WPG.ca to see all the stuff we're talking about. So we could throw that in after the fact.
unless I can share my screen right now.
But will that transfer the sound?
Probably not. No, probably not.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, you give me the link and I'll put it down below afterwards. It'll be on the WPG.ca. So that'll be awesome. That'll be great.
You bet.
That's exciting. That's very cool, and that's exactly the kind of stuff that happens here in Winnipeg. Is there's this person's connected to this person, connected to this person, and they're going to put this whole thing together, and they're missing a piece, and here's Brad Lang. He's that missing piece.
That's for sure. Yeah,
That's great.
A little bit anyway. A little bit. There's some really I don't want to take away from anybody else who's been here a lot longer than I have here in this city. I'm very humbled to be here and able to work in an industry with a lot of really talented people here in the city. There are some really good studios here, studios that, you mentioned at the beginning that, you mentioned to build me up, but I can honestly say that, I do have something to offer. I've seen bigger and better downtown. But you know what? Bottom line is my overhead is a lot less, and my rates are going to be a lot less, and that's going to reflect on your ability to spend a little bit more money in developing your project in a proper way, that you're not brought in and rushed in and get it done and get out. It's like I said, it's not about the money here. It's about doing quality work, and it takes time to get there, and I realize that and recognize that. So if I had to charge every single person who came for every hour of every minute that they're coming in to record, I think I'd probably be out of business, because my rates would end up being too high. So, I don't want to cut myself out of anything. I'm trying to include myself into what you've got going. I'm trying to join your team of your people, meaning you might have your own.
And just for clarity, you're
Yeah,
not talking to me. You're talking to like the grand
yeah,
general you.
that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah, the whole anybody listening today, that like anybody who's a
yeah,
musician or an artist who wants to get in. I mean, that you don't need to be rushed. You need to have that time and have somebody with that patience who's going to try to, get you there where you're satisfied and you know that you've just produced quality work. And um, other people are just out there for the money. They just want to get you in, get you out. Here's your CD, and off you go, right? And it takes a lot more than that. It takes a lot more than that. So, um, you got website stuff. You've got digital press kits that need to be sent out to whether it's local bars or restaurants to try to get your to play in live. Um, if you're a hip hop or a rapper, that's a totally different scenario. Obviously, there's that particular scene is quite a bit different. The club scene with hip hop and rap is big, but it's done in a DJ fashion versus a live music fashion. So,
right.
um, when those rappers and hip hop artists come over and they want to do something, obviously, that's where we try to incorporate them into other places that are having success. Toronto, Vancouver, trying to get you across the line into some radio play down there, and really, like I said, try to build your fan base so that as you're developing yourself, your fan base is growing, your music, your image, your style, your whole persona is growing too. And it doesn't, if I tried to take somebody who's really good at 40 and try to turn them into a rock star by 45, it's not going to happen. But if I take somebody who's 18 or 16 or 14 who's got a real good talent and I'm able to help them and guide them along with the other people that are involved with them, we end up with a solid individual who is committed, dedicated, and let's face it, that's what the agencies are looking for in terms of find music companies and agencies are looking for. So you have to have an agent to be able to go out and play the bar scene. You have to have a record company behind you to get your album to radio. Some people
So what you're
don't.
saying is it's too late for me and my music career
Well,
to
yeah,
make
pretty
it
much.
big.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
still want to record you here at the studio, and I'm looking forward to that. But bottom line is, that's it. You're right. It's past the time. But you know what?
yeah.
One of the things I always tell people is that it's not past the time to just like that. What I was talking about was becoming a big star, becoming
Hmm.
a superstar on a national, global level. What I'm talking about now is taking you and having you play to your family and your friends and make a little bit of money off of those people just to kind of help you pay for what you've spent the money on to get you into the studio. You know what I mean? Just to help you recoup
Right.
some of that. And that's where we see that a real big success with individuals when they see that there can be a return to help pay this off. They end up with a really good product, a chance to make some money along the way, which makes you feel good about your music and your efforts. Um, and then in the end, you can turn around and say, I've got, I made that money off that last album. You know what? Let's take 10 grand of it or 5 grand of it and let's go record some more stuff because you're keeping your music career going forward. Agents,
Right.
record companies, they don't want to see an artist make one album and then disappear. They really need you to have that longevity, go as long as you can, as far as you can. Your best work isn't your first album. Your best work isn't your third album. And your best work might not be your last album. But, that's what the agencies, the record companies, and people like me, producers, are trying to figure out to help them find their place, find their niche, find a good spot to be in so that they can see return.
Have you had any like crazy, just somebody that showed up? It's like, I want to record a song and I don't really know much about it, and they show up and they just blow you away. Was there any examples of somebody that just secretly could have been bigger than Bieber kind of thing?
Well, no, I wouldn't say bigger than Bieber. That's a height that he didn't create himself. Let's face it, Dr. Dre and other people build those kind of people. The people that I build are more local, not global, more interested in performing live to locals versus, traveling and touring. And, the bus breaks down, the van breaks down, the gear's broken. Oh, gee, you're here this week. We had you booked for next week. There's all kinds of problems on the road. So a lot of people are, that whole bar band scene has kind of died over the years from where we were to where we are today. So now we're seeing restaurants that bring in an artist who sits in the corner, plays his acoustic guitar and sings along and entertains their crowd for a good couple hours, and everybody eats their meal and everybody walks away happy. I like those kind of people. I'd love to say that we could take somebody and make them a international superstar. But with that comes the right team around you. And that's why when I
Right.
said LA Studio Productions isn't just me, it's Lang and Associates. The associates are those people, like Brian would have been when I mentioned Brian J. Dobbs from Metallica as an example. He had the power to call the record reps and go, look, I've got this brand new artist with a brand new CD, and you guys need to check him out. And then, had I phoned them and said, oh, yeah, I got this brand new artist and it's this guy and he's really good and you should check him out, it would have been, yeah, okay, see you later, click. Brian gets, hey, man, you know what? You worked with Metallica, Mötley Crüe, and you got the cred to prove it. So, if you're saying that, we want to hear it.
Right.
I don't have that cred yet, and I'm not trying to get that cred. Musically, it's just another not side, but another product that we produce here at our studio. The main thing that I spend a majority of time on is radio and television advertising, whether it's audio or video, plus the music side of things. And when we get into the music side of things, I am not trying to help you become that star who's working with like Dr. Dre. I'm actually helping you hone your craft and helping you get ready to be presented to somebody like the next level that can say, this person's been doing this for a long time. They're very well put together. Brad did an excellent job training him and getting him ready. And now I'm going to run with them and I'm going to help them all make money. And that's how the product really comes to be, right? So, you can sign up to go do American Idol or Canadian Idol, and you can jump on it and you can hope for the best, and they're going to take you for the ride. It'll be the ride of your lifetime. I'm not sure it's going to be the right ride that you're looking for, but you'll go for a ride. And in the end, they own your rights. They own your likeness. They own your name. They own everything about you at that point, and you've got nothing to go on. You can't go into another recording studio after you signed off on Canadian Idol or American Idol. You can't do anything unless they approve it and put you in there. So, I don't try to get people to go down that road. I'm more interested in helping you take your album and make it into something that is a whole another level for you, your family, your friends, your peers. And if you get some local radio airplay along the way, that's another goal that we try to achieve for you. And if we can accomplish that, then you've heard your song on the radio, and not a lot of people can say that this day and age, buddy.
That's true. That's true. So then we briefly, during your radio host voice, you mentioned COVID. We're not going into the politics of it.
No.
But how did that affect your business, do you feel, and how have you pivoted since?
So there's no doubt that COVID affects every single business out there. I would have to say that, I found that some of the businesses that I make radio and television ads for, some of them have been left without product in their stores, like a sporting goods store, for example, that, has had a real lack of bikes this year because the boats weren't unloaded on the West Coast, and the bikes never made the trucks, and the bikes never made it across the border, and the bikes never made it to our store. There's shortages everywhere in that sort of scenario. Yeah, and that's part of the issue. Because of these businesses being hit by COVID, they've revamped a lot of their budgets there internally too, from staffing to their budgets on purchases. So buying new product to put on their store shelves to sell. Hours of operation, everything's kind of been affected that way. But when my clients don't have any kind of products to sell, there's no need to advertise. If there's no need to advertise, then that's where it hits my pocketbook, and that's a trickle down effect, and it reflects off into the radio and television world too, because they're selling ads to these individuals, and they're not seeing that return at the radio stations either. So COVID's been a struggle. And I can only hope that the country turns itself around and gets back on its feet in a positive way, and we come out of this unscathed. And but COVID, yeah, it did affect everything. It's affected a lot of businesses, a lot of families. It's hit home for a lot of pocketbooks, man, and that's the part that's concerning. Again, I hope that as we head into the rest of this year, that we start to see things open back up and things start to become a little more reasonable. Gas prices are soaring, which again hurts the pocketbooks of so many Canadians at $1.50 a liter. I think that
Right.
that affects the trucking industry. That affects the amount of the products that are hitting store shelves and the inflation that's happening there. I too have sat here and contemplated: do I put my prices up now? Do I have to put my prices up now? And one of the things that I've made a decision, and again, this is the humble decision to be, again, show that I'm working with individuals to help, their situations, is I won't raise my prices right now. Why won't I raise my prices right now? Because you know what? If you're coming and you want to utilize me, I'm not taking you to the bank because you've come to me. I'm going to help you any way I can, because I know that you're hurting too. And if you're advertising, that means that you have product to sell and no customers. So let's change that. I'll take my regular fee that I get. I'll smile all the way to the bank with it, and I'll be happier than a pig. And the client will again, come back the next time around, because they're being treated fairly, they're being treated honestly, they're not being gouged into something that may or may not work. You can advertise you got bikes in your arsenal at the sports store to sell. It doesn't mean that they're going to sell right now, because there's a lot of families still trying to pay their bills because they're out of jobs. So
Right.
We've all got to be a little bit sympathetic, a little bit caring for each other, a little more resourceful. And while the rest of the world and the rest of everything starts to climb inflation-wise, I would honestly say to business owners out there, I know you're being hit by some hard times and some hard costs, and things are going up every time you turn around. It doesn't have to be that way, though. There still has to be some sort of humbleness with regards to, your customers that you're dealing with, and, taking them for a ride just because you're being taken for a ride doesn't necessarily justify it.
Right. And I feel very much on that level. You and I are very simpatico. Like I have not raised my prices for the advertising on the WPG or any of that stuff. And I don't think that it would be right to do so. Like, it just wouldn't feel right to do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's gouging, and it doesn't leave a good taste within a client's mouth. Now's not the time to raise your prices just because the inflation says so.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's a hurricane coming. Well, every case of water is now $10 extra.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly it, man. I'm just happy to have clients keep coming. I'm happy to stay in business and keep the doors open and keep focused on making some great projects for people along the way, and really turning it into something that not only they can be proud of, but when I see that they're proud, I'm proud too.
Yeah. And there's also that mentality of like, you know, high tide raises all boats, right?
Mm.
Like, if we can be a community and work together, everybody wins. It's
That's right.
everybody's boat floats, you
That's
know.
correct.
But when the tide goes out and everybody's working against each other, there's going to be a lot of boats sitting on their keels, you know. It's
Yeah,
just how it is. Sorry for the Nova Scotia style metaphor there.
it's
Not
okay.
exactly a lot of tides happening in Manitoba, but you get my point, I think.
I truly do, and you're right. That's exactly how we, as small business owners, have to continue to operate. Um, we small business owners rely on customers, family, friends, and individuals who have had success, whether it's been at the studio or whether it's been at your own restaurant, burger shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We try to cater to those people, and those are the people we want to keep coming back. And again, the minute you take a McDonald's cheeseburger and you try a McDouble, which is $1.49 on the menu, but you try to put that $7 price tag on it, it just doesn't sit well with me, and I know you're not going to pay that price either. So,
No.
don't do that to your customers. Try to treat them fairly, and give them a good product on the back end, so that when they're done, they're full.
And yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Local, helping local for the sake of local, you know, for like to build our community up and be better. Where can people connect with you? If people are listening to this and they're like, how can I get in with this guy? I've put it up on the screen a couple times that people can connect on your
Mhm.
Facebook page, but
Yeah,
where can people connect?
absolutely. We have a website, lastudioprod.com. You can also just go to Google or DuckDuckGo if you don't want to be tracked. Go to DuckDuckGo and type in LA Studio Productions. It'll pop up immediately. We also have our Facebook page, as you mentioned. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Facebook page for the business, a Facebook page for the other side of what I do, which is voiceovers. We haven't really delved into that too much today, but I do a lot of voicing for clients all over the world. A lot of script writing, a lot of script reading, and all that work is available on lastudioprod.com or my voiceover channel, which is Brad Lang voiceovers.com as well. So by all means, if you want to check everything out, that's the place to go. There's many pages within our websites that take you through our services, to our music recording, to talent development. It's all there for you, and I hope that you get the chance to take a look around, and there's lots to listen to and watch too, from the video projects that we do and the audio projects to the music that we record here in the studio as well.
Awesome. That's amazing. And so we're getting short on time. I just want to remind everybody, not only can you connect with Mr. Lang over here, I guess I'm pointing the wrong direction for those watching the video. Sorry. So not only connect with him on Facebook, lastudioprod.com, also bradlangvoiceovers.com.
That's right.
And just going over that again, but you can connect with us. We're the WPG Magazine, and we have social media channels you can connect with, which is our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. Again, on all of them, it's @ or / the WPG Magazine. I tried to make it as easy as possible. It's all exactly the same across the board. So hit us up on all those socials. And again, if you want to leave a voicemail or send us a text about the content you're seeing here or any other content that we create with the WPG, you can call or text the WPG talk line. That number is 431-800-4555. You can reach us by email, podcasts@thewpg.ca. So I want to thank Mr. Lang, Mr. Brad Lang, one last time for being here. I hope it was an enjoyable hour for you as well.
It was fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on the show. You know, we've known each other for a while now, and I've been waiting to get on the show for a while. It takes a lot to build these studios. When I moved here, I moved into a new house and had to restart and restructure it all. So now that the studios are up and running, we're open for business, and I'm looking forward to recording you one day real soon, Mark.
Soon, we'll figure that out. For now, this is Brad Lang, owner and producer of LA Studio Productions, and I've been Mark Adam, owner-operator of the WPG Magazine, and you'll see more stuff between us maybe sooner than later. All right? We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.